Hello, yes, we're live. Might have to close the door. How many do we have in the room? Okay, we're going to do an energy update. Yes, we're all in it at the moment. I'm having a drink. I don't promote anything, but if you need... Yes, anyway. Hi, Giggle. Yes, I made it down the shop. I didn't walk. I drove. Hi, Rebecca. And Mark already knows. You know, we've been talking about astrology. Hi, Stella. Yes, I did get it. How is everyone? Are we in it? It's a little bit more than Coca-Cola. But we'll call it Coca-Cola. Okay, now, where would we start? Okay, yes. Okay, now where would we start? Astrologically speaking, we're going to get into it. I've got a broken nail. Everyone's got 99 problems and hopefully isn't one. But at the moment, we're all in it. And that's because okay, where would I start? We have the energy from Chiron has moved from Pisces over to Aries. So now we're more direct in what we're wanting. We know what we want. When we've got a problem in front of us, we need to find a solution. And it can be where it's quite frustrating that we're going, okay, I can see this problem. When you look at the eclipse, it's about what we need to end out, what we need to manifest in, what we need to end out. So the way we're dealing with it, especially with the Aries energy with the wounds, it's like, look, we don't have time to not deal with the wounds, okay? Because if we do avoid it, we're going to have more conflict. But with that frequency, it's going to force us to address these areas. So you're going to have things coming up in your face quite often. We've also got the moon in Virgo, which is a blood moon. The next moon is going to be a blood moon as well. So it's heavy energy. And its correlating sign is Pisces. So you get the analytical aspect of things, as well as, okay, unless you can show me what's real, I'm not buying your BS. That's another very in-your-face sort of energy. So when you look at the different transits, as well as we're in the shadow aspect of Mercury retrograde, it's like we're being assertive, but without the throat chakra. Now, Mercury retrograde can be where we do communicate in a very skewiff manner. So when you look at it, yes, we do have this dynamic where we need to go into our mind, find solutions. It might be difficult to find solutions because they're a long-term goal. A lot of feminine energies very separately are in a frustrating frequency where we're going, okay, next month the moon energy in blood moon is going to be Libra. The interesting thing is Libra is all about balance, okay? But the frequency that's going to come through might be abrupt because the correlating sign is Aries. So it can be, yeah, you want the balance, but when you feel imbalanced with that blood moon energy, what you might be feeling is, hey, I'm getting pissed off. So it can be very direct, assertive, aggressive energy. Now, at the moment where the moon is, we do have a frequency similar. So it can be where you've got a lot coming at you. Everyone's saying, where's the finances at? Why isn't it moving? What is going on with that? The interesting thing is, as quick as you've dealt with one task, it's like you've run a marathon. You're actually dealing with another task. And you feel you have completed something, but there's a lot in front of you that needs completing. So the energy is almost like you vibrationally know what pieces, you vibrationally know what you're wanting. And, you know, initially I was connecting the dots with it being instant gratification frequency, but it's actually not instant gratification frequency. It's the frustration that your energy that has moved to a certain paradigm is needing to pause for certain dynamics to unfold, because there's multiple variations of the way a situation can come about, but you're really going to have to think on your feet, and that's going to be problematic. So you're going to have the ability to make decisions very quickly. You're going to have to, But at the same time, with Mercury retrograde, some of that information can be missing. Even if you feel you're speaking the right language to people, you might even end up speaking the wrong language to people. So you have your clear mind, but you also, you know, for those of you who are more intuitive, you can be to the point where you have the rationale of the situation, but you need to come from another person's perspective or external person's perspective when you're dealing with that. Some of you are also, although you've done the work, it's a very interesting frequency where you're aware of other people's energies and you're taking that into consideration. You're taking dynamics into consideration, but it is to the point where it's very 3D, right? So you're in the midst of it. You're in the 3D and you're looking at it and you're getting to the point where you're considering the 3D more because you have to, but the spiritual aspect of things is becoming problematic because and the fight and the battle, especially with the ego, is going to be, okay, what are you holding back from? What aren't you saying? What is going on with you that you're not communicating effectively? And that's been a real difficult challenge, I think, for a lot, because we're coming from that mindful place where we're wanting to say things, but it's not we don't have the words. We're in awareness, so we're cautious of our words. Does that make sense? I should just go back to bed and wake up tomorrow to be better. Hi, Donna. A very warm welcome, Intuitive Perceptions, Illuminated by Design. Hello. Hi, Heidi. How are we all? Yes. That's good. Told you hardly. It is very frustrating. Now, with the energies moving in March, I'm like, I don't know why I'm laughing about this. You have to laugh. Now, the only way you're going to get through is to find comedy. Went to the shop today and I'm like, you know, the things that are happening around us, when you're in awareness of astrology, of yourself, and you're looking at things, you're like, Mercury retrograde. Lady's trying to put the payment through. She's waiting with her little ATM and she's waiting, and I'm thinking, hold it up to the sky, lady. And we're waiting a good 20 minutes. And I'm thinking in my head, Mercury retrograde. You know, so yes, we know why things are happening, but you're needing to deal with 3D tasks. Now, you've got to understand that when you're dealing with the conflict, remember back to January. And you're going to have to remember this for 6 months because that total eclipse is what we're ending out and moving into. Now, the placement of the moon, with the last placement, any 0-degree placement can be an ending, a new beginning. So, again, keep an eye on astrology when it does come to the moon placements, what sign it's in. It'll take on that frequency, what degree it's at. That's the transition of its evolution and what's going on with it. And it's going to give you a kind of understanding of what frequency is going to go on. Then look at the other astrology around it and it'll take on a personality. So that personality at the moment is, you know, pretty much from January onwards. We walked into January and we were like, okay, what do we expect now? We've had 2016, hell, no forward movement. 2017 to a degree movement, but then, you know, backwards momentum to a degree. 2018 was very difficult. The biggest purge I think any of us have had, but that's for a pocket. There is the third wavers that are going to be dealing with it this year, and they're getting really triggered. So you'll find your children are getting triggered there. You know, it can be that they're not understanding the way you're communicating, or they're in it so much that you may have a slight download. The next day they're having it. It's like you're doing swapsies. So it's frustrating to deal with that, but it's because their frequency is going to go through an aspect of an awakening this year. So you've been through it. Now the children are going to go through it and the younger generation. So probably anywhere from 30 downwards. is going to go through a transformation this year. Meanwhile, you being in self-awareness, morning Ange, you need to go from a place where you're in self-awareness and you're watching your children going through it, and the younger generation. So as I said, anywhere from 30 downwards. And I'm hoping this is going to keep going. And it's like you're coming from a place of mindfulness, but providing you've done the work, what you need to understand is even if you're skilled at helping situations, sometimes we need to let it fall for them to learn, okay? So when I say that, I don't mean don't guide, don't be the parent, etc. But there are certain things in life, and this is even with partners, it's with co-workers, it's with employment, it's with everything in your life. If you can come to a place you can understand, A, is it a healthy environment? If it's not, you being there for another person's position, you're allowing and enabling that situation to not evolve. So if you believe it's your destiny, it's not, okay? Destiny is your energy. When you're looking outside of yourself, it's another person's energy. We cannot change other people. We cannot help other people grow. We can be in our truth and allow them to grow naturally. Environment assists that. Dynamics and karmic energies come from us. So if something's happening outside of us, what is it telling you about you? What is going on with you? Whenever you're getting triggered and you're looking at another person, you need to come back to you and say, okay, why are you so heavily focused in this area? That can be your work colleague, your family, your finances, your twin, your soulmate, whoever it be, your children. Okay, what's going on with you? What's in your circle of concern and what you can deal with, and come back to self. But many, and yes, we do have to consider other energies around us, obviously, because it's like when you're trying to put the foundation of anything together, you're looking at what's going to balance, what will work for you, what will work for other people, especially when you're in a team environment. But you have to come back to self. So it's, if you're only considering the external, you're giving your power away, and you're either in victim mode, you're in rescuer mode. Check in with that, to make sure that you're not going back over old ground. Yes, lots of things are happening. Yes, so look, you can, and look at the environment of what has been a paradigm in your life. It might have been that naturally people would come to you for solutions. And it doesn't mean to say that they can't, but you need to change your speech pattern or your technique pattern, where you're understanding how you're implementing that. And that's almost like being a spiritual teacher. So you can lead by example, but not necessarily do you have to hold the hand. It's like, even readers on YouTube, we can give you the information, but ultimately speaking, when we're really in the thick of it, a lot of the power does come back to us. So, when we're getting frustrated, especially at, hey, I've looked at this reading and it's told me this is going to happen. Are you doing the work? Your individual situation is very unique. So you will never completely get that from a general read. And you need to understand that you may be 10 steps ahead or 10 steps back. And sometimes it's handy to look at the previous month to see and check in where you were energetically, or look at your rising signs, because it depends on what is coming at you in that month. It could be you're more focused in your Venus house on one month. It could be you're more focused and you've got trigger points connected to your family environment. And those are personal readings. So you can either look at your rising signs or the house placement, in your actual astrology chart to fine tune that. And so we can literally look at all the zodiac signs to connect in with our birth chart. So that's why they say, look at your rising sign, look at your ascendant, look at your Venus house. But each area, especially with your Jupiter placement, what is happening for you guys when it comes to your growth. Saturn, where do you need to be strict with yourself and truthful, and what do you need to look at and address? There's all areas that you can read in a chart to help you actually move forward. But always when you feel you're in the thick of it, you've got their intuition, when you don't know what to do, you need to take space, and that's removing yourself from social media, people's opinions. You know, nobody should ever come above you. So if you're considering everyone else but not self, you're disconnected. So you need to come back to self. If you can get to a place where you can have an hour to do some meditation, and, you know, when we talk about meditation, we think Buddhist monk, we're sitting there and we've got the music going and, you know, we've got the qualm, we've got the incense. No, it's having time for yourself to feel the energy without, you know, without any white noise, without anyone's opinion, and actually feeling confident enough to ask yourself how you're feeling. And then if you are having an intuition and you're feeling, hey, you know, readings don't have to be tell me the future. They can be to a point where you need clarity on what your download is. They can be for emotional support from a point of view of purging and just speaking to someone that's like-minded. They can be for guidance because you perhaps are not seeing something from a certain perspective and you need to hear an external person's point of view. That is a safe environment to actually voice that. So never place a reading in a box that it's to tell you future. Especially the readings I do, they're for various reasons. There'll be times where people are purging. There'll be times where there are situations where people want to look at their astrology aspect of things and understand the transits. It can be a twin flame journey path. There are many areas readings are relevant. But, you know, never get triggered from a in general reading, and look at your rising signs and the other signs to see the overall energy. And again, booking a reading, you can never replace it. Any questions while I'm here while I go back to my drink? But also the work is crucial. You must do the work. And the work's your work. It's what's going to help you from not getting triggered. What's going to help you taking the navman of your ego in control to a point where you can say, okay, this is my trigger point. It's making me feel some sort of way. With that energy, what am I going to do with this to actually say thank you for the warning signs, which is the red light. The ego is giving you the red light. What are you going to do to say thank you for telling me that this dynamic's coming up and it looks similar? And what now am I going to do to say, okay, now in a different paradigm, I'm going to address it in a different manner, or not allow it to govern me and control me, but have the warning system, but at the same time deal with it in a different manner. You quit drinking. I'm pretty much, well, I've been having a lot more meat lately, but that's because of my twin, which I do need to eat it, but it doesn't agree with my intestines. So I try to every 2 to 3 days eat vegan. But I am saying in March there's going to be a slingshot effect. So anywhere you guys have been feeling that you're not moving forward, hold on to your seatbelts. Happy birthday. Yeah, I used to be, but when I lived in Europe, we were living on a farm and, you know, the meat was very expensive. And it was during a time of the recession. So predominantly it was vegetarian. Yes, a slingshot. So it's going to be fast paced. Some of you might be feeling I'm not ready. You're not ready. You're not going to be ready. Not one of you are going to be ready, but the tools will help you keep moving forward. Okay. Well, you got friends now. Now, one thing I will say. Yes, it's my mother's birthday. A big happy birthday to my mummy. Mummy, happy 50th, mother. You do, but this is a different style, fast-paced. Like, I can handle under pressure situations because you got, especially being a Libra, most of my chart is Cancer. My Venus house is Scorpio. So interesting dynamic. But when you don't have time to meditate upon things, but you've got to jump and deal with it, when you understand that you don't know what the future is going to look like, you disconnect from that. It's no good going to the past, but yes, at times it comes up. And sometimes, especially if it's the same aspect coming up, you need to deal with it. But it's a you side of the fence, not a their side of the fence issue. You still have to be gentle to yourself, you know, especially being empaths. We're very understanding and compassionate to other people, but we can't be that to other people if we're not good to ourselves. So it's almost like you can't be a hypocrite, you know, because we have to be good to ourselves. If we're not good to ourselves and we're preaching to people, then we're not walking in our truth and being authentic. So, you know, when we're doing that, we're looking outside of ourselves. So we need to come back and go, okay, fair enough. I see your point of view and I have compassion, love, understanding. The past is the past, and this can be your children, can be anyone. But, okay, how am I right now? Am I able to be that counselor, listener, compassionate empath right now? Or can you just be the neutral ground for that energy to come, and then you give that person the permission and hand it back to them? How does that make you feel? And listen. And sometimes you can gain information from it that perhaps they're not understanding that's happening on their side of the fence. So I'm just saying. Oh.
I think I need to go get some spaghetti.
Really?